Okay, so this next section is about substitution. And the way substitution works is we can take an equation that looks really unfamiliar and we can actually make it into a familiar equation. So let's start with something like this. So a trick here is this. So what we can do is let u be x squared. This is called a u substitution. So we'll get u squared, or we'll get u being squared, minus 5u plus 4 equals 0. Or just u squared minus 5u plus 4 is equal to 0. And what we can do here, use either the quadratic formula or guess and check. Two numbers that add up to -5, but multiply in +4, -4, -1. So we'll get u minus 4, u minus 1 is equal to 0, or u is 4, u equals 1. Now this is just u. Remember that u is x squared. So this really says x squared is 4, x squared is 1. So if we square root both sides, we'll get x is plus or minus 2 over here, and x is plus or minus 1 over there. And so we can check an answer. Let's say we're going to check x equals 2. So this is 2 to the 4th. And again, we're checking in the original equation. Minus 5, 2 squared plus 4. Does that equal 0? Or is 16 minus 20 plus 4 equal to 0? And it is. So x equals 2 works. Also, x equals minus 2 will also work. Try x equals 1. Is 1 to the 4th minus 5, 1 squared plus 4 equal to 0. Or is 1 minus 5 plus 4 equal to 0? Well, it is. So x equals 1 will work. X is -1 also works. -2, -1, 1 and 2. Those are going to be our solutions. Let's look at another one. So again, we can rewrite this as x to the -1 squared minus x to the -1 minus 6 equals 0. And let u equal x to the -1. So we get u squared minus u minus 6 is equal to 0. And again, we can use guess and check. So two numbers that add up to -u multiply to -6, or -1 -6. -3 and 2. So it's -1 and -6. To get u minus 3, u plus 2 is 0, where u equals 3, u equals -2. Now again, remember, u is x to the minus 1. So that means x to the minus 1 equals 3. X to the minus 1 equals -2. And what minus exponents mean, negative exponents, they just mean we flip things. So we can say this is really 1 over x to the positive 1. Doesn't affect this at all. When we flip the negative exponent, we allow it to be positive. And x to the 1, that doesn't change anything. 1 over x, 1 over x. And there's a trick you can use in algebra. If you take the reciprocal of one side, you can take the reciprocal of the other. It means you can flip one side, you can flip the other. And remember, we always think of numbers as having invisible ones underneath them. We can always do that. So flip this. X is 1/3. Flip this one. X is -1/2. And if you check these, they do turn out to be correct. -1/2, 1/3. That's going to be your answer. Questions about that? Let me know. Just a quick review on negative exponents, especially if you're going to check the numbers here. In fact, let's check one of them. Say x is 1/3. So what you'll get is 1/3 to the -2, and that's minus 1/3 to -1. -6 does this equals 0. Now again, what negative exponents mean is we're going to flip. So this entire piece will be flipped to get 1/3 squared minus 1 over 1/3 to the positive 1 minus 6 does that equals 0. So that's the key thing with these negative exponents. In other words, a to the -n is 1 over a to the n. Again, you have this invisible 1 and we flip things. Or 1 over a to the -n. This also gets flipped to give you 1 over, just a to the n. So negative exponents means we flip things. All right. So 1/3 squared, 1/3 times itself is 1 over 1/9. 1/3 to the 1 is just 1/3. 1 divided by 1/9 is 9. 1 divided by 1/3 goes into 1 3 times. And if you subtract 6, that does equal 0. So it does work. But I just wanted to go through and just sort of review a little bit what these negative exponents mean. If you have any questions about those, let me know. All right. Let's do one more substitution. In this case, let u x squared minus x. So we end up getting u squared minus 14u plus 24 is equal to 0. And again, we could use guess and check, two numbers that add up to negative 24, add up to negative 14, but multiply the 24. Negative 2, negative 12. U minus 2, u minus 12 is 0. That means u is 2, u is 12. Now again, recall that u really is x squared minus x equals to x squared minus x equals 12. We're going to get two quadratic equations. So what will happen? Subtract 2 both sides of the first equation. Subtract 12 from both sides. And again, we can try, guess, and check. Two numbers that add up to negative 1, but multiply to negative 2. Oh, negative 2 and 1. And then over here, two numbers that add up to negative 1, but multiply to negative 12. Those will do it. So we'll get x minus 2, x plus 1 is 0, x minus 4, x plus 3 is 0. And again, zero product principle. That must mean x is 2, x is negative 1, x is 4, x is negative 3. And if you do check these, they all turn out to work. And again, you check in the original equation. And that's it.